Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? I thought I was about to bail, but I guess I had my conscience went in, and I guess I was able to get my job done. But now I'm live right now. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we're
I am
doing great.
I am
Yeah.
doing well and glad to see you guys, especially you, Theron. We missed you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I've missed all of you, and yeah, I wish I was definitely wish I was in a Milo stream since that was a big story, and would
Oh
have been
yes,
fun.
it was
Yeah,
fun. We really missed you on that one.
yeah, I would have loved to debate Connor on like Milo and and the straight stuff. Oh, yeah, I think that would probably would it be one of our biggest like arguments yet.
Oh, I'd just be sitting in the background, just munching on popcorn, just watching the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. Because
so what's our topic for this week?
oh well, you
Uh,
have to. You know this about the Second Amendment. It's time to talk about the Second Amendment.
yeah. What with the dementia patient in Chiefs? Uh I personally think utterly toothless attempt at executive orders, against guns and magazine capacities and you name it. It's not going to work. Quite frankly, I'm amazed that I haven't seen mass rashes of guns lost in boating accidents discussions
I mean,
online because
this is the thing that confuses me about guns. If we we tried to legalize marijuana and cocaine, and it doesn't really work because people just create marijuana and cocaine illegally. So can the same thing be with guns? Can they just create a pipe gun or something like that? I mean, like it's not so
oh,
hard
they
to create.
absolutely
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my friend was talking to me about this like a few years ago, but basically a person in Britain like uh basically showed that he basically like made a gun showing that you can make a gun and there's really no point criminalizing it. Then he got arrested.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's one thing I just don't get is like these whole gun back buy programs. I'll never get them. Like, why? How do they help the
Yeah.
situation? How?
They
Like,
don't. They
you're
don't.
having, this is like you're having good people give their guns and just have the bad people. The bad people are not giving their guns. Like, how is this helping the situation? I don't
Yeah,
know.
It doesn't.
it reminds me of like Stossel's like you know s- give like cause to the like government so they can break it. Except this, which the aim was to like create economic growth, but like it's better to like produce new cars rather than destroying like old cars. But like anyway, it's also better to like have like more guns in the hands of like citizens rather than the police. And I think that uh, yeah, personally for me, like one of the best reasons for having guns is to decrease the government's monopoly on violence. I mean, like I know that Mikhail doesn't agree with the government's existence, but like me as a more like small state libertarian, I think that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
important to
I'd
me.
asked you here the other day, if it would be fair to assess you as being, something along the lines of a minarchist. If you're familiar, it
Uh,
sounds along those lines, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And
yeah, I
there's one
forgot to
thing.
respond to you on that tweet, but yeah, I'm not as small state as a minarchist, but yeah, I'm a libertarian.
No, that's fine. There's
I
nothing wrong with that at all.
I don't mean to sound like Hunter here. I hope my argument is not going Hunterish here. But there's one thing I'm wondering is like these liberals. They want to. Many of these leftists want to have immigration. They say we shouldn't block the border because we shouldn't build a wall because these people will come in anyways, right? And but with gun control, they go the complete opposite. They say we should at least like we that the criminals will not get anyways, and we should try to do. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope I'm not sounding too.
No, no, I think I understand what you're saying, and yes, I see a massive bit of inconsistency in their general desired policies when it comes to such matters. Like, okay, and by the way, since you bring up the wall, very funny fact. Behind the scenes, the dementia patient in chief and the administration are actually pressing forward with finishing or furthering the wall construction. I think the claim that they're making is, well, we want to fill the gaps. So okay, there's an inconsistency right there. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I
but
fully
mm,
support them in doing that, even if I dislike them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with a wall, in and of itself. I would really prefer that it wasn't being done through government force and eminent domain, and I could keep going down the list.
Oh
But a
yeah.
wall itself, I don't really have a problem with.
Well. The.
See, and I think I had explained this on Twitter, to you, Theron, here a few days ago. Actually, it was to the entire group. I think it was Connor who brought it up. Now that I stop and think about it, but anyway. Um, I don't have a problem with a wall, and I do not have a problem with immigration. What I have a problem with is all of the problems that government itself causes that ultimately lead people to want to mass migrate. That's the issue here.
Well, there's something I was thinking when it was, as I said, I had to go to work and I had to do something. I was thinking about this in the elevator. I know I think about the weird stuff, but I think to myself, and I'm not an anarcho-capitalist by the least, but I think that's the but what I thought is the anarcho-capitalism way of immigration is the best. If it's the best solution for both parties. Let's say you're against immigration, then if you're anarcho-capitalist, you could be have your house sealed, have your what I'm saying sealed, and if you're pro-immigration and in anarcho-capitalist world, you can let them in. Do you get what I'm saying, or am I sounding too?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Yeah.
I mean, and that really is kind of my thinking as well. And I mean, I'm not trying to overinflate the egos of my fellow ANCAPs or anyone else, But yes, you make a good point. It is a consistent, principle to follow. If you are against, as you pointed out, if you are against immigration, well, then you can seal off your own shit, and it'll be fine. You don't have to open up your house or your property. No one should be forcing you to, and live and let live. And if you're pro immigration, that's fine too. Let them in. Darren, your thoughts?
Yeah. I have. Yeah. Personally, like, I think while I want like immigration to be smaller, I think like the right personally has exaggerated the impacts on immigration of the negative effects on immigration, while the left has like minimized or said that the negative effects of immigration are minuscule. And um, while the idea of like the ANCAP way of immigration is interesting, I'm not sure if it's like realistic. But regardless, I think like some of the like key things like people in this immigration debate, Mrs. and by the way, the left I think are winning with better arguments. But here's I think the trick that the right can use. The reason that some immigrants are great fiscal contributors is because like they have certain like qualities which I gone through in my Brexit immigration video, where basically like if you're here if someone is here less, that means that they will they won't live here long enough to like be eligible for like the public services to take advantage of. Therefore, they'll increase their fiscal contributions, and if they don't bring kids with them, and but if they bring kids with them, then they're like net burdens, which is, and I think this is
Hmm.
really funny. Where basically in the UK, there are these Eastern European workers without like kids, and they're generally like more net fiscal contributors. Uh, and there are like people like saying there are immigrants with their kids, like you know, putting like putting pressure on like public schools. Then the left are saying, "Why are you saying this? You're lying. You're racist. Blah blah blah. You just hate Eastern European workers." But the funny thing is, the immigrants that the people who are worried about like children, them like putting pressure on like public schools, those are basically non-EU ones, basically like from the migrant crisis, like say from the Middle East, basically Middle Eastern families like with their kids, and which explains like the disparity. Like there are some areas where I assume like maybe the local ones where they have like immigrant families like with kids, which makes contribute less. And there's maybe other areas like London which has like more Eastern European workers. So what is it? The not impression, the
And,
like the way people view this is may depend on geography, and but overall like there are like certain qualities of immigrants that would like make them either net fiscal contributors or like net fiscal burdens.
there's one thing. I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit confused. This was searching Twitter now. Apparently, Nick and I know I know I speak about Nick a lot in this, but him and Tariq Nasheed are in a fight. I'm confused. Why shouldn't they like each other? Considering they're not segregation necessarily, but they like segregation and you know, they hate gay people too. I'm sort of a little bit confused.
Okay, that's news to me. I wasn't aware that they had an issue with each other. No, I'm
Wait,
serious.
so
I didn't know that.
Tariq like hates gay people. I thought he was a lefty.
He's not as left as you think, surprisingly enough. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Interesting. This is news to me, but okay.
yeah.
Um, Touching back on what Theron was just saying, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Theron, but it sounds like, your one of your big issues with immigration is not, immigration itself. It's the numbers, and even more importantly, it's the drain on the economy through the welfare state. Would that be correct?
Oh yes, both of those. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and that is, a very, very good point to bring up because, I can't remember who said this, but there's an infamous statement that was made. I don't even know how long ago, by someone, and it still holds true to this day. You cannot have open borders and a welfare state. It will not work.
Yeah, Milton Friedman said that. Milton Friedman said
Yep.
that.
Milton Friedman, thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah, no,
couldn't
no, no.
remember who, if it
And
was him or,
there's
huh?
one thing that's so true here. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, but it's
No,
very
no.
true. All these left-wing people want want what's it called, single player healthcare, but they also want what's it called again? But they also want open borders. And many of these people, getting to the funny part, was many of these people said, "Would you guys give free healthcare to illegal immigrants?" And all of them raised their hand. They said yes. But this is a very stupid idea. Can I tell you why? People would just come into this country, flood the country just to get a surgery or something like that. Because if you're giving free healthcare to illegal immigrants, if somebody is like very sick and has cancer, and he'll just over to the border of America and just get chemotherapy because he knows he could get it for free. You know what I mean? This will bankrupt the country literally. I'm not sure if they get that, but yeah.
Yes, you are not wrong at all. And I think that's what Milton Friedman was really pointing at. Is like if you have, it doesn't matter whether it's healthcare, housing, cash money. It doesn't matter what it is you're giving away via the welfare state. If you're giving things away, quote air quotes here, for free, nothing in life is free. Someone pays. Let's all say it together now. Thank you, my 2 cents. But anyway. Yeah, yeah, it's going to, as Theron pointed out, end up being a massive net drain on the economy. And who's it going to hurt the worst? Let's put our thinking caps on for a second. Who's going to get hit hardest by that? Seriously.
Yeah, yeah. And one
Yeah,
thing
it's hmm?
yeah, and one thing I'm just
Oh,
wondering is how do they assume it's going to work? I don't get the logic. How do they assume it's going to work? How do they think it's a good idea giving free healthcare to legal immigrants? Don't I'm not sure.
money
Don't they?
printer go brr. Money printer go brr.
I mean,
That's
no, but
that's how they think it's going to work,
but they
and it's
don't see
Thank you,
not.
like the problems that
hyperinflation.
happen. They don't see they don't realize people are just going to fluctuate in the borders. You're not going to realize how like hospitals will be crowded because people are just going to because like the logic says. I know I'm repeating myself, but if a person needs the surgery, he'll just go into America, and he knows even if he gets caught, he'll still get immigration. He doesn't care if he's getting shipped back because he knows he's still at least going to get free healthcare. I don't know, whatever.
No, you're absolutely right, and it's ridiculous.
I know, I'm repeating myself, but it's something I just don't get.
I don't either. I think it's lunacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to one of the big topics of this week, gun control. This is a shameless plug for InvictusMedia.tk, and I guess for myself. But please feel free, everyone who sees this, check out InvictusMedia.tk. You will see articles by Theron, by Connor, by Rohan, and the latest upload by yours truly, Mikhail the Stray Cat. And Rohan misspelled my name. It's Mikail. He spelled it with an H. You know, the Russian or Czech version, Mikhail. It's okay. It's a common mistake. I'm just ribbing him. But anyway, yeah, seriously, everyone, check it out.
Yeah, I have been actually in the chat. If you guys don't see, I have make sure to check out this website. I put in the chat. It's yeah. Make sure to check it out. Not getting paid at all to say this. Just shameless plug, I guess.
Yep. This is just shameless plugging.
Yes.
But in my piece, anyone who is familiar with Shane Killian, again, kind of a shameless plug for Shane in this case, anyone who's familiar with his video from, good Lord, I want to say it was like 5 years ago, how to argue for gun control, will probably recognize pretty much every single point that I list off one by one right out of the gate. And the reason for this is not that I'm trying to steal from Shane's glory. He is awesome, and that is all there is to it. But it's because these points remain absolutely true now, just as they were, X number of years ago when he first made that video. For example, don't, when it comes to guns, first off, it's not a matter of gun rights. It's a matter of property rights. And these stem directly from first principles. I could go on through this, but I think everyone here is fairly familiar. But just to list them off, the law of non-contradiction, the consistency principle. The burden of proof is on the active side, not the passive side. Force is active, so those advocating force have the burden of proof. The initiation of force, it cannot be defended. Self-ownership, private property. The taking of legitimately owned property cannot be defended. First principles. So here's the deal. And this really is the ultimate, standby, the gold standard, if you will, of, I think, what really should be considered anything even resembling gun rights advocacy. A human being has the inherent right to own a hunk of iron in any shape they damn well please, and it's no one's business but theirs. So long as it was legitimately obtained, it is not anyone else's business. Period. Done. End of story.
I don't mean to be this person, but I'm hoping not to. Am I interrupt you or no? Or...
Oh, okay. He's talking to his roommate.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering. Then you left us to say, well, how about like a nuclear weapon? Do you believe people should own a nuclear weapon?
I can't hear you. Did you say that?
Yeah,
again?
we
Sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting, but many of these leftists will say, but how about a nuclear weapon? Are you saying people should be able to own a nuclear weapon?
Yes, I am. And this case has actually been made several times before. I am dead serious.
Yeah.
I am dead serious. I am not the first to say this, and I will not be the last.
Yeah. I hope I didn't interrupt you, by the way, when you were speaking.
No, not at all. That really is it right there. But all I was saying is that anyone who goes through my piece, it is titled The Gun Manifesto. That is an excellent choice of title by Rohan. Thank you. Good job, Rohan. I really like that title. But in any case, anyone who goes through this, that's one of the first things you're going to see is listing off these arguments from first principles. Right out of the gate, that's pretty much all you need to understand why I and pretty much all other gun rights advocates of all stripes, we don't agree with you. Restricting other people's rights to own a hunk of iron. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. And also, not to mention, like, people's downgrade how important. Like, the funny part was how they always said that we don't need a Second Amendment because an authoritative government will never come to be. Yet they called Trump a fascist. People like
yeah.
People like Hunter. But also one more thing. I mean, people underestimate the importance of Second Amendment. People in North Korea. I'm not saying how much good it'll do, but they would have loved right now to have the Second Amendments right now. The Second Amendment. They would totally have loved.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm actually wondering what your thoughts on all of this are, Theron.
Okay, so Yeah, just be sure you've like watched the whole what was it, a 2 3 hour like thing with like modern day debates with like Sean and like Sean Head and then
I
Hunter
I have
Avalon.
watched a few of them. I haven't seen the most recent ones. In
Uh,
all honesty, Hunter became kind of a non-entity for me some time ago because, well, he's just gone off the deep end, but that's my own personal opinion. So what did I miss here?
oh, you know that, and you know the clip where like Hunter basically like insulted like Sean, saying that he lived in like his mom's house. Well, that was from like a 3 hour like debate with like multiple like people on there, and it included actually much more interesting like discussions like similar to what you were talking about. Well, it actually led to like whether like we should own nuclear weapons, and like Sean and like Bastia like had some really good response to this. And it's basically like the idea of externalities with a gun. Like it's easy to like make sure that you don't that if you shoot it, you don't like affect like someone else. You only affect the person that you shoot. But with a nuclear weapon, like one use of it could like unintentionally like kill millions. It's really hard to control. I guess that's my argument to like
Okay.
ban that. And that's not to say I'm not happy. I'm happy with like the government owning nuclear weapons. I just think well, actually, I think we should discourage the government from using them. Actually, we do in fact with the idea of nuclear deterrence.
Okay. Do you mind if I respond just
Oh
for a
yeah,
second?
sure, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay. See, and this isn't you, necessarily, but this general, this general argument, and I'm seeing two problems with this. One, there is a glaring inconsistency. You're running into problems with the consistency principle with this argument. You cannot have special rules for government that are not bestowed on the rest of the people. Under the consistency principle, again, first principles, what if one is valid, the other must be too. It really is that simple. So if it's okay for government to have nuclear weapons, then there is no reason it should not be okay for normal people to own nuclear weapons. That's the first issue that I'm seeing there. The second issue that I'm seeing there is that and you kind of alluded to it yourself, but anyone who is making this argument is assuming that someone who has nuclear weapons, whether it's government or someone else or any private citizen who has the capacity and capability to have them, let's say, they're laboring under the assumption that they will use them. Well, here's the thing: owning something is passive. Simply owning something is completely passive, and thus the burden of proof is on the active side, who's saying, in other words, in this case, whoever is saying that you shouldn't be able to have X, Y, or Z, whatever it happens to be. You should not be permitted. Okay, well, the burden of proof is on them to justify their case, to make an actual argument. You cannot base an actual argument on an assumption and expect it to hold water, because assumptions, well, how do you spell assume? Assume.
I mean,
That's
like,
how you spell assume.
and this is
Now,
the question I have.
yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead. No, no, no. I was just going to say, and this is not, again, Theron, to be, a jerk or anything. No, this is simply how I see things. You know, again, consistency and the burden of proof. It
Well,
really boils down to that.
well, this is my question I have for you, if you don't mind. If you say
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
because would you then be okay with somebody stopping a lady from getting an abortion because he feels like the abortion violates the non-aggression principle? Would you be okay with that?
Okay, that is a slightly more nuanced thing. Now, okay, I would wonder, I would have to ask, okay, under what grounds, is he stopping her from doing this? Again, at this point, the burden of proof is on him. Now, please do not misunderstand me. I have no love for abortion. I also have no love for somebody exerting force on someone else to get them to do what they want, as opposed to what they had in mind, if what they had in mind is not violating their rights or anyone else's rights. In this case, this is what makes this a bit nuanced. We're talking about abortion, and abortion is murder. Let's be honest here. That's what it is. And science has proven this time and time again. So, at that point, I really have to wonder, who is in the right and who is in the wrong here. It really comes down to which argument is more justifiable.
Yeah.
And I would wonder, what is his reason for stopping her other than simply the fact that she's about to kill her unborn baby? Yes, and I can certainly understand why he might want to do this, but he is still exerting force against her. That's the problem. So that's where this gets into the weeds a little bit for me. That's why, and you had asked here a little while ago in backstage, if you were thinking about writing an article for Invictus yourself. I know that abortion is, I've known you for a while, is one of your big pet peeves. It's one of your big topics. Why not write an article about that? I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe I might do that. I don't want. Yeah. By the way, Swiftless said I should shout out his channel. Make sure to go to Swiftless YouTube vlogs channel. If
Yeah,
yeah,
send us the link, man.
yeah,
Send us the
sure,
link.
sure, yeah. Let me just get the link to the
Yeah.
channel. Yeah.
And Theron,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this particular hypothetical scenario. What do you think?
I think. Well, hold on, and before I interrupt Theron, I think
Yeah.
that this would be a good video for my 2 cents. Not sure if he would want to do this, but I think it would be, a very good video for my 2 cents because I know he's he's an anarcho-capitalist and he knows a lot about these issues.
Yeah, he's way smarter than I am. I'll say that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think
Okay.
that's sorry.
Okay, so I guess it's interesting what you say that we need that whatever's like good for government should be like good for the people. So I guess
Yeah,
yeah, I guess that's
it's the
interesting.
consistency principle. That's all it is. It's the consistency principle. That's all.
Yeah, I understand that principle in the sense that like we shouldn't that like if you have like double standards, then that will give like the government way more power, which well it isn't great, but like let's see. So what was I about to say? Um, yeah, I guess was I guess I'm okay. I'm not sure if I'd say I'm okay, but like I believe like we may need double standards, but that would the reason for that is that would make the government like special. Otherwise, I don't see much of a reason for like the government to exist if it didn't have like any special like abilities compared to like other groups. Of course, there is always the worry of it being abused.
Absolutely, and it does get abused a lot more than most people even think about.
Yeah. By the way, make sure to sub to this man's channel. I put this up
Hmm?
on the link on the chat. Pl-
Yay!
planning to actually do later when he's able to finish all his university stuff. Planning to do an MMA chat with him, speak about mixed martial arts. It's a little different than this one. It's basically like this, except it's on mixed martial arts. So maybe you guys could check it out. I'm not sure if you guys are into mixed martial arts, but anyways, continue. So.
And also, what was that second thing you said? First was like the consistency principle. The second you
Yes.
forgot what you said.
Yes, the first issue that I see with the argument is, the consistency principle kind of, yeah, you're running into problems there, which we kind of just discussed. Okay, the second issue is, the burden of proof. The burden of proof is always on the active side. So if you're going to make a case, for against someone being able to own something, X, Y, or Z, fill in the blank, okay, owning something is passive. Therefore, they don't have the burden of proof. Therefore, the burden of proof is on the active side, not the passive. Therefore, whoever is taking the active side, in other words, the person in this case trying to restrict another person's ability to own something, has to make an actual argument. They have to justify their case. Otherwise, they have no case. So here's the deal. If you're going to make a case for this, you cannot base an argument on an assumption, because an assumption is exactly that, an assumption, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, then.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
yeah, I think I get what you mean. A person could be like peacefully and passively like owning something. Like they may have no malicious intent, but like,
Just like guns. I own guns. Well, okay, my family owns a lot of guns. I own one particular sidearm. I'm looking to get another one here soon. But yeah, I have never shot anyone with any gun that I or my family owns ever in my life, nor do
Okay,
I have
but
any intention to do so.
I think like it's much. There might like be some accidents, but like I think you are much more capable of like controlling like what like any like I think there'll be much less like side effects like when you on a when you use a gun because it but like with like a nuclear like weapon like one use of it could kill I believe maybe like state maybe countries.
Depending on the payload, it could kill millions in one fell swoop easily, and I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
just
absolutely
do you,
understand.
do you mind if I just say something? I mean, this conversation is a little bit, you know, sort of in a way not really relevant because trust
Hmm.
me, it's hard enough for a country to make a nuclear weapon. So I doubt an individual can own a nuclear weapon. It's very,
They would
very
have to be rich as hell.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like they
Even
would
North
Oh
have
yeah,
to
Korea's
be rich as hell.
yeah,
Let's
even
be
North
honest
Korea,
there.
yeah, yeah. Even
yeah.
America has trouble making nuclear weapons. So yeah, it's very,
Mm,
very almost impossible for that to happen. It's
mm,
actually irrelevant. It's a red herring in a way. Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, I hope I'm not.
No, you're fine,
Yeah.
and you're not wrong. It is kind of a non-issue because, as you said, yeah, it's very difficult to make and obtain a nuclear weapon, and the cost is like psychotic. So yes, you are not wrong there. You know, and again, Theron, I was not trying to be obtuse or be a jerk.
Okay.
Yeah. I apologize.
There's nothing to apologize for. That was all fine.
Okay, good. Anyway, so that's where I stand on guns and gun rights. So I'm eager to hear you guys' thoughts.
I guess since Toasted's like lives in America while I'm in Britain, where we basically have no gun rights, I guess you'd probably have more information on gun control and stuff. So, do
Um,
you want to start?
sure. Mine's pretty simple with the gun control thing. I mean, I believe in as little regulations on as guns as possible. I believe that they're a tool. People that say to me, if you say that I should legalize gun because people get it anyways. Can you say the same thing about murder? And I say no, murder you're actually hurting somebody. Guns is just a material, and that's my thing. I for the most part want no regulations as guns. People ask me how about the mentally ill people, and it's sort of like our fellas. It's sort of like a tough question for me to respond to. Yeah, but for the most part, I'm okay with people owning guns. For whatever reason.
Okay, like initially, since I lived in Britain, I wasn't for any guns at all. Then I was for like maybe gun control. But like after it was revealed how much the left doesn't know about guns. I don't want them like regulating guns like, and it appears like the gun like free zones. There's a lot of like gun crime over there, and like maybe I'm for like limited like gun regulation, but I don't know what that is right now. And I guess like maybe one reason would be like if your gun is like actually like well, I guess I have a certain like justification, but I guess you guys can like um put like my argument to the test. But basically, my argument would be if your gun is like too big to like fit it in, then I don't know, maybe you don't need to like doesn't need to be legal because I think like personally guns should be concealed as much as possible because like a revealing gun could like increase tensions. So like if you have a big gun with you, even if you're not using it, that might like increase tensions. And so like what's your thoughts on that?
Totally
Like a vote,
disagree. Totally
of course.
disagree. I don't care how big the gun is. I don't think I think that's a dumb reason to ban a gun because they look scary. I think many stuff looks scary. I mean, we don't ban stuff for looking scary. I have a tattoo that might look very scary. I might have a at the end of the day, you say we ban because it might cause, but we have freedom of speech. I know this is getting a little bit. This might my analogy might be horrible, but we have freedom of speech, even though it might seem scary. I mean, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I hope I'm not sounding too.
Okay, let me try and like explain what I mean. Like, for example, if you have uh, like, I'm fine with like you having a gun with you, but if you like have your weapon like out, like even if you're not like taking someone, and like that still like is like often a symbol of provocation, and like if someone like sees you with a like openly with a gun, that they may, I think they might have like a reasonable justification to think that you may like attack someone. So I think like guns should only be used for self-defense.
Well, I actually believe if I owned a gun, I would have it out because I want to make sure nobody's gonna mess with me. Nobody's gonna try to mug me. You know what I mean? Because if
Yeah,
you
but
have it
like
out, if you have
um
it,
Um,
yeah,
never
but
mind. Go
like
ahead.
would you like wouldn't you like usually like have your gun like in, but like if say a mugging like happens, then you can like take it out.
I know. I guess I should ask Michael, how does it work? What do you? Isn't the guns basically like an intimidation factor to make sure? Isn't that one of the reasons why guns work? Or
I guess you could have like that thing, like that pocket like gun holder, like somewhat to like maybe like show that you have that.
Okay. You had asked me, you know, you're. It sounds like you're asking, which is better, concealed or open carry? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I can find merit in either way. Um, personally, this is only my opinion on this. If let's say my sidearm, you know, it's a Taurus Papa Tango 247 Gen 145 caliber. Okay. Let's say I want to be carrying my Taurus. I call her Maria. I'm carrying Maria, and I'm debating whether or not I want her to be exposed while in her holster or be concealed. Okay. Concealed, no one sees it, therefore nobody, theoretically nobody knows that she's there. Which I can find merit in that. I can also find merit in wanting to have her exposed, still holstered, completely harmless, just sitting there. Uh, Now, I'm not sure that I would call this an intimidation factor, like you had mentioned, Theron. More simply letting people know, hey, I'm armed. Don't mess with me. I will not mess
Okay.
with you. And yeah, and that's my thoughts on this. I'm not gonna mess with you if you do not mess with me, and we'll get along just fine.
I
If
mean,
you
would you?
mess with me, you can see I am ready to defend myself if I have to. That's
Yeah.
it really comes down to a personal choice for me. Either one I can find merit in. You know, Concealed, you let people go about and not even know that it's there, but it's there if you need it. Open,
Yeah.
people know that it's there. Maybe they think, maybe whatever's going on in their heads is what's going on in their heads. You have no real control over that. And it kind of touches back on what Toasted was talking about. The same thing with freedom of speech. Just we have freedom of speech. You know, as long as you are not threatening anyone or otherwise, calling for violence, then you can say basically whatever the hell you want, and some people will like it, some people won't, and some people won't even care. And that's their choice to make. It's entirely up to them.
Yeah, I guess this is my thing. Is if I like know a martial arts, I want people to know I know the martial arts because I don't want people to mess with me. I don't want to get into a situation where I have to use the martial arts. Do you get what I'm saying? I
I'm
want
a
to.
martial artist.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a
you are.
martial artist, and yes, I have a black belt. And
Oh, nice.
um, but anyone who were to come across me on the street, they don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't wear my black belt out on the street. And it's that simple. Because as far as I'm concerned, why, and in the case, that's kind of self-aggrandizing, to be perfectly honest. For me to just walk around every day with my black belt, ooh, yay, look at me. And like, dude, that's kind of self-aggrandizing in my opinion. But do I have the skills? Have I learned that? Do I know how to conduct myself, in fisticuffs if I absolutely have to? Well, yes, I do. I don't advertise it. I don't bother with that, because 99 times out of 100, I don't anticipate that anyone is going to mess with me. But if someone does, well, okay, if it comes to it, I know how to defend myself. So, I mean, it's like I said before, there is merit to be found in either one. Theron, you had talked about, people like with rifles, walking around with them, like that. Well, my question there is the rifle front slung or slung on their back? If it's slung on their back, it's just for show. They're self-aggrandizing. That's all they're doing. If it is front slung, meaning the rifle is, effectively right in front of their torso, it means that it is there and it is ready to be used if it is needed. But if their hand is not on the pistol grip, their finger is not in the trigger well, or anywhere close to it, and they are not otherwise pointing the rifle at anyone or anything, I don't see it as a threat.
Okay, if it's like like on like a waist, like but they're not touching it, I think I'm fine with that. Also, if they're like having it like stuck at the back of them, then I'm also fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
I
mean,
know
I'd
that.
probably like not talk to him or like, but yeah, like yeah, I guess like since I like live in Britain, like this is probably like the most like Second Amendment, like pro Second Amendment. You'll probably see me as the most. I'm probably one of like the few Second Amendment Brits.
I get it, man, and that's fine. You should come visit us over here across the pond. Seriously.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we did. We were going to like for like our Canadian um cousins like wedding, and we were planning to like visit the states, but sadly like the northern democratic states, but still the states. But then COVID hit,
Ah,
so
crap.
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Chinese Communist Party. Thank you. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. I will blame the Chinese government for the coronavirus, COVID-19, for henceforth until forever.
Apparently, according to my friend from Singapore, it was actually like the state the state governor in like Wuhan, like China, rather than the CCP that did that. But like regardless, like they do have a culture of like you know touching things, and like if they let the doctor have like their freedom of speech, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe.
Yes, and you're not wrong. I had seen about that as well. There are actually several articles, that are out there regarding this matter, and yes, it had to do, a little bit more with, from what I read, it had to do a little bit more with the local governor, whatever the title is there. But the thing of it is that the way their government is structured, it very much incentivizes covering things up, fudging the numbers, yada yada yada, and it's yet another failure of any kind of communist system because of the
So
strong centralization. And that's what strong centralization of government power and frankly the market for that matter, this is what it ultimately will incentivize. Now, when I say that, please don't misunderstand me. I don't mean it will cause COVID. What I mean is that it will cause this kind of behavior. And that is why I blame the Chinese government.
yeah, but that sounds like as what the left would say, a systemic problem. An actual
Yes.
systemic problem.
Yeah, an actual systemic problem. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. Toasted, your thoughts on this? Toasted?
Hello.
Toasted, can you?
Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't really have a thought on it. I think I sort of agree with you. Screw the CCP. I mean,
Chinese Communist
CCP.
Party.
yeah,
CCP.
yeah,
Screw the CCP.
yeah.
I think that's going to be my new tagline for the day. Screw the CCP.
How about FUCCP?
That works too. I can totally go with that.
Yeah, there's one last thing I would like to talk about if you guys don't mind. before
Yeah, what's up?
Sure.
Hey, did you guys hear about what happened with Steven Crowder?
You're talking about his experiment, his public display of the whole knee on the neck,
Yeah,
quote unquote debunking thing. Is that what you're talking about?
I've
Yeah.
heard of it. Yeah, I've seen like the video. I mean, not the video, the well picture at least.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen a few of the images. I did not see the actual video. So lay it on me. What happened?
So basically, he's getting a lot of and I don't get it. Sort of, he's just reenacting a crime scene. I mean, like if he's being like if he's doing something wrong, then apparently every court is should be canceled because they always recreate. You know what I mean? And besides, for the point, this is what I'm trying to meet. Just to say is like maybe you could be angry about like he got some of the facts wrong, but at the end of the day, reenacting is now like basically every rapper reenacted the George Floyd case, if you know what I mean,
mm,
like that
Yeah,
baby
please
and
talk.
like Nick Cannon. You know what I'm talking about. Many of these actors, like many of all these rappers reenacted it. Should they be canceled for doing it? Why are they held in different standards? This is sort of the same thing with Steven Crowder. Just like people are saying he's offensive because he made these jokes about all these jokes he's been making, but this is why I do, guys. These and like I heard even Hunter Avalon calling him racist. But the thing is, these same people are calling him racist for what he's doing are the people that are like giving Borat the Oscar, this nominating him for a Oscar. You know, and the thing is, Borat and many of the things Sacha Baron Cohen puts out is way more offensive than
oh
what Steve
yeah.
Crowder is doing, or Family Guy, or these same people are like Family Guy and like South Park. So I'm wondering, why is it okay for South Park, Family Guy, and Borat to make all these offensive jokes, but not Steven Crowder's? Why are they held in this a different standard?
Oh
Is it because because he doesn't agree with you, but those people agree with you? You know what I mean? These people are a bunch of hypocrites. If it's not right
oh
there, it's not right there. If it's right there, it's right there. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I hope I'm
yeah.
not.
Oh yeah. Actually, South Park does get like torched by left because like the creators are they're actually like libertarian and they're actually on they don't like toe down to the left line, but like Family Guy they do and like what was the other one like such a kind of that other guy I just like him after like he like his whole like thing with Facebook, but basically like what really annoys me with Family Guy, you guys probably heard about this, it's like back with like the whole South Park Muhammad thing, like the creator, like I forgot his name, he voices Brian, but he basically said like, is it worth it to actually like draw Muhammad in South Park, and he was like kind of like victim blaming maybe South Park in a way. And honestly, like yes, like actually this shouldn't even be happening in the first place. Like you should like be able to like insult a certain religion or like draw its like creator like without like getting killed. Like I'm actually sometimes like yeah I don't like criticize like Islam much, and this is why I do get like worried that I might get death threats, but like
Yes, and it
but like
shouldn't be
yeah,
that way at all.
yeah.
It goes back to freedom of speech. You're making jokes about something. Oh no, someone's feelings got hurt. Oh, cancel culture time. Oh my God, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
this is the thing I don't get about Borat. Like Sacha Baron Cohen is like apparently now he's going full SJW, and I don't get why. I mean, like, yeah, if you ever saw his content, like I remember his Bruno content. He like he adopted a black baby just for the thing. Like his thing was very offensive. Like, and it's funny. Bruno was one of the. I laughed at the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very funny video. But I'm just saying, like, it's very offensive. But apparently these Facebook memes are not okay. But his I just don't get it. I'm being honest with you. I just don't get
Oh,
it.
don't worry. Borat will get cancelled eventually. They all will. Like, they will all like
And
be
I
come
won't be
after.
upset. I'm gonna be honest. I won't be upset because he's for canceling Alex Jones. He's for canceling all these
Hmm.
people. And you know what? He works for ADL. And if he gets canceled, yeah, he deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would feel bad for him but he deserves it. He literally
yeah,
is calling for censorship. I actually hope it happens. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
yeah,
It's a
I,
simple case of what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Same with people like Cenk Uygur. Like, I did watch this like clip of like Cenk basically like saying the guy who's like they basically canceled him like from like the Oscars, like the comedian like was it um
Chris Rock.
Chris uh maybe not Chris Rock, but like a comedian like what is he was in movies was it Fudge?
Chris Tucker.
Definitely not Tucker.
Okay.
Wait, Chris. Yeah, definitely not Chris Rock. But basically, basically Chink's oh, it was basically those homophobic like tweets a decade ago. You might know him now, but like basically Cheng said, "Why don't you apologize now? Because like he already apologized like a few years ago. Why don't you apologize again?" And like, there's nothing wrong with that. And then like, what do you know? A year or two later, what comes out on his let's see, what was it? His bestiality clip, something about like him basically saying. David Duke saying, "I'm not a white supremacist," and Cheng saying, "Yeah," even though you could tell that he was joking. What else? Um, him making like sexist comments, his Armenian genocide denial all at once, and even though he apologized like like separately for a lot of them, why couldn't he apologize again? And like if he did, I'm not sure if he did, he may have like
Yeah, I was about to
that
say I
didn't
don't know
work.
that Cenk Uygur has ever apologized for denying the Armenian genocide. I don't know that that's ever happened, but I could be wrong.
Oh, he did once, but like
Oh, he
I
did.
think he
Okay,
like
cool.
yeah he did apologize for them separately, but I'm
I
not
mean,
sure if he apologized.
I mean, at the end of the day,
younger.
I really don't care. You
I
know,
mean, they're
I
probably
mean, I care about
younger.
the Armenian genocide, and his callous attitude for it. But whether or not he apologized, I could give two shits less. He's an asshole.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
well,
apologized over the years, but like let's see, when it came to that time, I'm not sure if he apologized again, but that didn't matter because like I could say to him, why don't you apologize again? Because the woke crowd, they wouldn't forgive him, um I think they should, even though he's a hypocrite, but like he now had to face the same stutters that he set for like that comedian. And actually, this is often like the story of Cenk Uygur, a hypocrite who like gets destroyed by his own standards. Like the union busting thing. That was glorious. Like I support Cenk
Oh
busting unions,
God.
uh, even though like he doesn't want like other like companies like union busting. And like I usually like I know that I think like Toasted probably disagrees with me with this, but personally I for the most part I didn't think like Chimidor like turning on like Cenk Uygur was justified except for the union thing. And because like Cenk like kept on like like being very like pro union, like anti business. But when he like explained why he didn't allow for unions and said that like TYT like wouldn't grow the way it did if it was for unions, like it's no wonder like Jimmy Dore turned on him. Like that's I think the one legitimate reason. Like and like I believe like Cenk was legitimate like a legitimate progressive, but he's also a hypocrite and extremely judgmental. And I think like Jimmy Dore like got a sense of that, and he didn't want to be associated with him anymore, and rightfully so. But I guess like what will happen when it will happen. History will probably repeat itself with like Jimmy Dore too, because I don't know, I think eventually he'll have to like do something similar to the union busting, but where he'll start being a hypocrite to like keep his business afloat. Like it's gonna like history's gonna repeat itself over and over again until they realize the cycle that they're in with these progressives.
yeah, but at the end
Uh,
of the day, does he really? His show is called The Young Turks. It's like calling a show The Young Nazis. I mean, like in Hitler Youth. Yeah, I mean, like he
yeah.
doesn't care about the Armenian genocide. He still has his name in his show as The Young Turks, so he doesn't care at all.
Like I said, he's an asshole.
Yeah. After what he said
Um.
about Russia, yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Um. Crap. Um. Now back. Just touching real fast. The massive double standards that seem to go on with all of these cancel culture idiots. First of all, once again, you're running massively afoul. Not you guys. I'm talking about them. You're running afoul of the consistency principle. Hence, double standard. Okay, you people do realize this, right? You don't get to have special rules for one group of people that don't apply to the rest of us. It doesn't work that way. And here's the real problem that I see with cancel culture. And I think, Theron, you kind of pointed this out just now. Now, what do you think? What do you people think is going to happen when you run out of all those evil fill in the blank here? People that disagree with you on X, Y, or Z. Okay, when you've run out of them to cancel, who are you going to cancel next? Who's cancel culture going to come for next? Think about this. Let's put our thinking caps on for a second. It's going to eat itself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And anyway, I just wanted to touch on that real fast.
I guess maybe we should end the stream right now. Any of you guys have any final statements you want to say?
I don't think so.
I have one. This is
Sure.
America. I have one. It's pretty simple. Screw the CCP.
Yeah, I
That
guess.
is my tagline for today.
Okay, fine.
Or-
Yeah.
Or for me, FUCCP.
Nice.
Everybody remember to sub to Invictus Media, and that's it, I guess. Okay, then bye.
Bye.
Peace.